What is going on? Welcome back to Jiu-Jitsu Outlet. I'm sitting down with a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Academy owner, a brown belt. Are you still a brown belt or are you a black belt now?
Black belt, bro.
You're a black belt now?
Yeah.
Dude, congrats.
Over a year now, yeah.
Well, I'm behind the curve. My
It's
bad.
been a long time talking to you, Paul.
I know, right? My buddy, Andreas Resch, one of the masterminds behind Matrix Jiu-Jitsu in Kaiserslautern, Germany. What is up, buddy? Thanks for coming on the
All
show.
good, bro. All good. Good talking to you. It's been a long time.
It has been a long time, man.
Excited.
Too long. We got to talk more. And so you were on episode 2 of this podcast.
Yes.
And back then, the show, I think, was just going to be about how jiu-jitsu kind of helped your life off the mats. And we weren't really talking a whole lot about mental health or spirituality, which are some of the things that we have ended up talking about quite a lot on recent podcasts. So I wanted to get you back and hear a little bit more about these different things from you. And obviously just, having a podcast is a good way to reconnect with people and get to chill with a friend. But dude, I just want to talk before we get into kind of speaking about consciousness and spirituality a little bit. How has jiu-jitsu helped your mental health in the time that you've been training?
Yeah, I think we talked about this in the recent podcasts a lot. But for the people that didn't listen to them, for me, there's this saying, oh, jiu-jitsu saved my life. But for me, it couldn't be more true. Because when I decided to go into jiu-jitsu full-time, open an academy, I was down, really, really down. Everything was down. And stepping on the mat was my only relief back then. So literally taking the shoes off, touching the mat barefoot, the tatami. I remember the tatamis we had back in the days. I think you trained at that gym. You remember that old place at Colosseum?
Puzzle
Yes. No. It was these they had the judo mats there. The red and green judo mats. The OG judo mats.
I don't know if I was there for those ones.
I just used them. So taking my shoes off, putting my bare foot on this mat, boom! It was like I just did a post on my social media where I talked about why we called Matrix Jiu-Jitsu Matrix Jiu-Jitsu, and this was the first time I explained this to people openly. And I tell the story because it explains how I felt in that moment stepping on that mat. So it's like trapped in the matrix. Everything sucks. You do a job that you hate your job. Your relationships bad. Everything bad. And then you step on that mat and everything disappears. And you feel like, whoa, there's another world. This is another world. I'm free. It's nice. It feels good. It makes sense. All the pressure's gone. There's silence, inner peace. And then we had to come up with a name because we separate from this shitty association that we were with before. So we had a little discussion group. I don't know, maybe 8 people, 6 to 8. I don't know, were you in there? It was a WhatsApp chat, and we chatted about, hey, how I think you came later. And then we were chatting about, hey, how should we name the academy? And man, they had the dumbest names. Like the dumbest name was K-Town Motherfuckers. And they came up with a logo. There's a logo, bro. There's a logo with
that'd be a great name.
Oh my god. See that? I show you that logo. And I'm like, oh my god, no, I have to now come up with a name, otherwise they name it something like that. Like Rene was like open for everything, like my business partner. I'm like, no, bro. I was thinking a little bit further when we have more than 10 students, and maybe a kids program and everything.
The K-Town Motherfuckers would have been a fearsome name, though. Would strike terror.
Good. Where does your kid go? Oh, to the K-Town Motherfuckers. I don't think it would work. Whatever. So I said, let's call it Matrix Jiu-Jitsu because you have MA, you have martial arts and the tricks. And you always have the word mat and the word tricks. It's all in that one word. So I said, look, that makes sense. It's cool. Come on, let's go. It's a sticky word. Everybody can remember it. And people really soon said, hey, I go to Matrix. It's just, hey, I go to Matrix. It became a brand very soon, so it was a good decision, obviously. But my reason for calling it what was Matrix was what I just explained. For me, it was a way out of the Matrix into the world without this inner thought process that never stops, and boom boom and problems and this and that. And so it was just a way out, a relief, place of meditation. Rolling was meditation. And afterwards, after a session, you still felt that in the car. And I was always like, oh man, will it stay now? Will it stay? And sometimes it stayed for 1 hour, sometimes for two. And I saw other people have the same experience, before I came up with the name. And then for me, it was clear. That's why I called it Matrix Jiu-Jitsu. And that's was my first experience with Jiu-Jitsu and spirituality.
How do you feel like those two kind of hold hands? Like, do you feel like martial arts is a spiritual practice, or do you feel like the two are separate from each other?
I think it heavily depends on the martial art too. Like a lot of brilliant martial artists of the past, they were all also like philosophical figures, like Bruce Lee. So it seems to go together very well. Thinking about life while you do martial arts, questioning everything. It's very intense. Martial arts is a very intense thing, especially jiu-jitsu is super intense. And I think this intensity, and also on both levels, on a physical level and on the mind level, on an inner level, it's both very intense. And I think that leads to questioning everything and be very thoughtful about everything. And you don't have those experiences off the mat too much. Somebody tries to strangle you every 10 seconds and you survive. And at the beginning, you suck at the sport, so all you do is surviving. And so when you go to your normal life, you're like, it's actually pretty chill here. Nobody tries to kill me. So yeah, I think it's an intense experience. It brings you out of your comfort zone, and therefore it's a spiritual thing. Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, I feel like it's almost like training you for a more spiritual life, so to speak. And I think that's why the monks they're so big on it. Like if you look at the Shaolin Temple, for example, they base it all off of the martial arts training, and that leads to the more spiritual discipline, so to speak. It's like training the person to be more disciplined, I think.
Yeah, I think they also have fighting monks that do very little spirituality. They still, I mean, it's still a lot compared to a normal person, but they do. Their spirituality is way more standing in a specific stance for an hour, and climbing up in winter with bare feet, running, I don't know, 20 miles and stuff like that. That's their spiritual practice. Also, they meditate, but then there's the monks that only meditate almost, and they don't do martial arts. So there's both, I guess.
What do you feel more called to these days, like from that sort of a lifestyle and the martial arts lifestyle? Like, tell us a
So,
little bit more about where you're at these days.
yeah, so a lot changed for me. Everything pretty much changed for me because I had back problems. First time a doctor told me I cannot do martial arts anymore was 13 years ago. That was before I really got into jiu-jitsu, like really got into it, training a lot. And I'm like, no, 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 come on. And yeah, about a year ago, I always had back problems, but I did a lot of yoga, and it was in control. Let's say in control. But like a year ago, it got really bad. So I was literally rolling, and then 2 weeks, nothing worked anymore. My back was done. So yeah, I went on and off and on and off. But then I said, like, you know what, this is not working out anymore. I'm rather be able to walk than to do jujitsu once a week and then not walk. Okay, before I did jujitsu, I rolled like 5 times, 6 times a week. still with 44, which is okay, I think. But then I was like, okay, I have to make a decision now. So I went off the mat, just teaching, no rolling anymore, and I focused on the business part. And that did two things. First, the business blew up, of course. And secondly, I there's a big part missing all of a sudden. You know, there's world championship sports people that end their careers and then it's a downfall from there because they don't replace that what they had, this intense journey they had before. It ends. They have everything, they have money, they have everything, but they don't replace it. So what I did, I replaced it with business first, but I realized really soon that okay, yeah, you get more students, more money, more this, but where does that lead? Very stressed, you know. The more you work on the business, especially when you build it up, later it gets better. But when you build it up, it's a lot of stress. It's a lot of stress, and I decided, man, this is not the life I want, and I went more inside. And as you know, I'm a very I can be very intense when I have a goal. When I have a goal, I follow this goal. I want to reach it as soon as possible. I do everything to reach it. And I said, okay, I don't want to go into the direction of a burnout. And my girlfriend told me, if you do this for 2 more weeks, I'm sure that's it. You have a full burnout. I'm like, you're right. So next day, I go in my yoga room and I start a morning routine. So I started with just half an hour of yoga, and then I just start with guided meditations. I tried everything, basically everything, affirmations, visualizations, breath work, everything, just everything. Yeah, that's how it started.
And where's that kind of led you now, like that practice?
Well, what happened was it helped, but always just on the surface. And what was always missing was that transfer from sitting in my on my yoga mat. Everything's calm, it's early in the morning, everything's peaceful anyways. And it's relatively easy to be peaceful there or have inner peace or not too many thoughts bombarding you. But my problem with it was always when I came out of the room, like back in the days on the jiu-jitsu mats, everything was always perfect most of the time. But when you step off the mats, you get caught back up in the matrix, you know, to get back to the matrix analogy. And that was the same thing again. I'm like, dude, I don't want this anymore. I want a solution. I want to live my life. Like that's literally what I decided one morning in meditation was I want to live my life from this inner peace. Like that, I wanted that the priority, nothing else anymore. Because I knew all the material things, they don't last anyways. All the relationships, all the people, everything, just look around. Everything you see will not last forever. Look at your body, look at your hand. It will not be there. You know, your body will rot. It's just a fact. So I decided I want to have this as my core. I want to live from this consciousness that I experience during meditation sometimes. And that was a conscious decision. I said, that's what I want. And then I went to look for that next step, next level, to get to this next level. I didn't know how. I just made the decision. That's how it started. And
That's
then
powerful, man. I feel like making a decision internally for stuff like that, it really opens up a lot because it says something to your subconscious mind that you're ready for that next level, that you're able to then, somehow transcend whatever this reality is, because it allows your mind to be in that state. That was my
exactly,
experience with it anyway.
100%, mine too, because that was how I started the Jiu-Jitsu Academy from zero. I said, I gonna do this no matter what. And I took the decision and then never doubted it. And that was, and I know that this works, so I did it again. I said, okay, this is how I want to live my life from now on. Let's make it happen. Universe, thank you. So, that's, I basically ordered that. And then it came in the form of books, videos, people I met, coachings I booked. And then I jumped into this and found out that it's literally just about levels of consciousness. And that the level of consciousness I went into while meditating is nice. It's, you can find stillness, but there's something above that where you can have the stillness and normal life combined. And I was like, that's possible? Come on. But it is. And now that's what I spend most of my day in. And if I fall out, rarely, but if I fall out, I'm aware of it. I go back and it's good again. It's very hard to talk about this. It's very hard to explain this. But as I said, you can think about it as like your priority switches. It's not like, hey, I own a business, I'm a jiu-jitsu black belt, I do this, I do that. And hey, I also meditate. Half an hour a day, I'm spiritual. It's the other way around. It's everything else is secondary. And to be connected with that inner self, however you want to call it, man, there's so many names for this. This consciousness, that's the priority now for me.
Yeah, I think that that's the real self,
Yeah.
the higher self, as it's called. But
Yeah.
man, I think that a lot of people think that you can only experience God on Sunday, for example, at church, or
Yeah.
you can
Yeah.
only it's only happens when you're praying, or it only happens when you're doing this or whatever, and then the rest of the week, that's the time that you're in the world or whatever you want to call it. But actually, it should be considered to be the opposite, where everything you do in your life can be a spiritual practice, and every moment can be a spiritual moment. You just have to kind of
Yeah.
try to stay connected to that. What are some tips that you might have for people who might be listening to this and feeling like they just can't really be connected with that sort of state? Like, is there anything that you can share that has helped you out from like a tactical perspective?
Go inside. It's all there. It's all there. It's just, first of all, realize that who is it? Can you look at your thoughts? But like, you're here, your thoughts are here, and you watch your thoughts. Can you do that? Some people cannot. They think they are their thoughts. Start with that, close your eyes and then look at the thoughts that come up. Uh, Just look at them. Don't try to put them away. Don't think about them. Don't wish other thoughts. Just look at them. Start with that. That goes a long way. And once you realize, well, okay, I'm the watcher, so to speak. I'm the watcher, so I cannot be what I watch, what I witness. So that's a big realization. You're not your thoughts. Then you can look at your hand. I like doing this. I like telling people, hey, just look at your hand long enough. If you do that long enough, eventually, not for everyone, maybe you have to start with the thoughts and then let's look at your hand. And you're going to realize, dude, yeah, it's my body, but I am not this body. That also goes a long way. If you realize that you're not your thoughts, so not your mind, you're not your body, that goes a long way. So I would say start with that, maybe with a realization. Knowledge is not at all powerful when it comes to consciousness. It's not as powerful as realization is. Like I think they call it satori. These moments of little. I miss the English words, but this little enlightenments you have. This, like in jiu-jitsu, I can explain you 50 techniques, but if you understand, if you have one realization, like, holy shit, always when I see the back, I can take it, your jiu-jitsu gets so much better. And it's a deeper understanding that happens there. Nowadays, when I teach, also my teaching style of jiu-jitsu changed a lot. Okay? I try to teach people more these things than complicated techniques or only the high level techniques that I know, or hopefully still. So yeah, but it's really going inside. Look inside. It's all inside.
Yeah,
And
that's
get help. I
beautiful.
mean, if you get help, come on. I struggled long enough with the idea, being a jiu-jitsu coach. I struggled long enough with the idea of, hey, you want to get to B, you're at A, just ask somebody that is at B for help.
Right.
I did that many times over the last 2 years, and
Yeah.
it paid off always, big
Yeah.
time. So get help. Find somebody that helps you with that.
Yeah, man. And that's a great way to segue into the last thing I wanted to ask you about, because we do got to wrap this up here in a minute. But what I know that you're starting to launch a new thing called Inner Peace, where you're going to actually be helping people with this kind of stuff. So could you tell us a little bit about that, and could you share kind of like what's that next level of the journey of entrepreneurship and life going to look like for you?
It basically the same thing happened to me back in the days when I started a jiu-jitsu academy. I always knew I'm somebody that need to, like, my passion is teaching people things that I think are useful, can help them. And that was the reason I founded a jiu-jitsu academy. I wanted to do jiu-jitsu and I wanted to pass it on. And now that my priorities shift away. I still, by the way, I still enjoy teaching jiu-jitsu a lot. It's just not fun having the back break every time you do it. So I don't do it as often anymore. I still enjoy it. I love it. But now I started focusing more on this. And I'm somebody, if I like something or if I have a realization, I want to tell everyone, So I can't help it. I have to talk about it. So of course I talk to my closest friends and family and my girlfriend. So I talk to them about what goes on in my life. And then one thing comes to the next. So I'm like, I'm in this really good consciousness state now and everything's perfect. And so I'm blah blah blah. And then the first person comes and says, hey, I know somebody has problems, this and that. Could you work with them? I'm like, sure, let's give it a try. Boom. Works. I could help this person. Next one comes. Next one comes. Yeah, and now I'm at the stage where I work with test clients. I just got my 9th test client. Have a few sessions booked where I talk to people that may jump on too. And yeah, that's the stage right now. I called it Inner Peace. I don't know if you can see it here. It's just the letters INRPCE. So I guess I like fancy names like Matrix. And because that word inner peace, or these two words combined in one, um, represent most of what I feel in this stage of consciousness, where this is the main thing, your inner peace, deeply rooted inside, unshakable, always there, doesn't matter what happens, it's always there. And yeah, that's what I'm trying to offer to other people and how to get there. Hi.
Where can people go if they want to find more out about this? If they want to sign up and think about being one of those test clients?
Yeah. So for now, it would just be shoot me a message, or they can tell you, and you can give them my contact or whatever, or give me their contact. That's how it works at the moment. I have like my network is mostly jiu-jitsu people from the past. So it's so many jiu-jitsu people I connected over the last 12, 13 years. So that's mostly where people come from at the moment. And I don't want to make this at this point now. Maybe if you talk in 2 months, it completely changed. I don't want to make this go too big too fast. I want to enjoy this, you know. I want to make it organically grow first, because I grew the Jiu-Jitsu Academy very fast, very fast. Maybe some at some points a little unhealthy fast. And with this, it's a hard thing, you know. It's not about making money. It's not a business first and foremost for me. So I want to grow this organically and work with the right people at the right time. Maybe that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes total sense, man. It sounds like you're doing it for more of a like fulfillment reasons, not really, you got to make the money. Sounds like you've
Well,
got the money, from
well,
Matrix.
well, yeah, but that was the same when I started Matrix, and I didn't have money. Now I have money. I'm not a rich person, okay, but I have more money than I have a very simple life. I think you know that. I live a very simple life, so I don't need much, and I have more than I need. So that's all I need. And yeah, I mean, come on. If everybody that is there knows when I say that when you have everything you need to earn more money, it doesn't make you more happy.
It
It
really
just
doesn't.
it can make you more unhappy even. I think a lot of people that have everything in this world are really unhappy, even if you don't see it on the surface, but they can be so unhappy. Because imagine you have everything that everybody dreams of, but you're still not happy. You're missing something.
Man, well, dude, I got to wrap this up. I feel like we could talk about this forever, but thanks so much
Let's do it
for
again.
coming on the show. And hey, if you're interested in connecting with Andreas and learning about inner peace, go check out the links down below and send him a message and tell him you heard him on Jiu-Jitsu Outlet. But hey, thanks, buddy, for coming on the show, and we'll have you back here soon.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thanks,
man.
Paul. Enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it too.